Hi everyone, Spider-Man 1991 here, and it's time for me to do my comic reviews for the week of November 28th, 2012. Okay, starting off with Marvel. Okay, the first comic that I'm going to review, it came out last week, which was November 21st, and I didn't post a review up because of Thanksgiving, but, I already reviewed 5 out of 6 parts of this, and this is the ending, so I'm just going to review it so that I can give my full review on the whole story arc. Minimum Carnage Omega, number 1. This is the one-shot ending to the Minimum Carnage story arc. Alright, so Scarlet Spider and Venom return to the Macroverse, and when they do, they discover that Carnage is already killing people, and he still has control of the symbiote army. And when I say symbiote army, it's not like an entire army of symbiotes, it's actually more like Carnage can now split himself up into little microscopic duplicates of himself. And so, pretty much Venom and Carnage fight him. Venom is able to defeat Carnage by using a sonic grenade that the Enigma Force gave him right before leaving the Microverse. And it does not temporarily knock out both Venom and Carnage symbiotes. And right after the symbiotes are knocked out, Scarlet Spider, Kane, he uses one of his, stingers, the claws that come out of his wrists, to lobotomize Cletus Cassidy. So it doesn't kill him, he just pretty much makes him brain dead. And Venom is really appalled by this, and so they kind of disagree on that. And then later, when Carnage is back in U.S. custody, one of the prison scientists is talking to Venom, and she says that now that Cletus Cassidy is brain dead, the symbiote has full control of the body. So Cletus Cassidy is no longer active, but now it's just going to be the Carnage symbiote actually in control of the actual body. So there's some potential there for some story arcs in the future. Overall, I like Minimum Carnage. I'll admit, it was kind of an interesting team up with Scarlet Spider and Venom. I really did enjoy this. I'm probably going to go back now and read all the previous recent Carnage story arcs, which was the Carnage miniseries and the Carnage USA story arc. I mean, now I want to go back and read those because of this. Still, this is a great story arc. I would highly recommend it to anyone who's been a Carnage fan. You'll definitely love this. Okay, moving on. Now for comics that came out this week. So, Marvel. Thor, God of Thunder, number 2. Alright, the main focus of the story arc is Thor's fighting the God Killer, and also we're getting this story told in 3 different points in Thor's timeline. There's Thor of the past, young Thor, who's pretty much on Earth, but he's treated more as a Norse god than a superhero. Thor of the present, superhero and Avenger, and Thor of the future, who's the last god of Asgard. And this issue, it primarily focuses on Thor of the past. Young Thor, who's pretty much living in ancient Ireland. And also, funny thing, when the issue starts, we do see his hammer, Mjolnir. I think I'm saying it right, but anyways, you see his hammer, but he can't lift it yet. So that is kind of a funny thing of why Thor doesn't have his hammer in the past. But anyways, it mostly focuses on Thor's first encounter with the God Butcher, who's the enemy of the story arc. And Thor is his young days. He isn't exactly as powerful as he is now, but he's able to hold his own and defeat the God Butcher, I think, in his past. And then for the last few pages, we kind of lead into what's going to happen with Thor of the present. Okay, well, I like this. Okay, I'm kind of glad Okay, this is my theory about what's going to happen. Okay, the first issue we had 3 different Thors. Then this one we focused on the young Thor. Then I think next issue we'll probably focus on what's going on with Thor of the present. Then 4th issue, Thor of the future. And then finally, 5th part, we'll probably have all 3 Thors again, flip-flopping through each different point in time. So, that's not a bad way to do the story arc, because I was worried that we might just have 3 different sort of versions of the same story, running in the same issue and stuff, if what I'm saying is making sense to you guys. But yeah, Thor God of Thunder is very awesome. I've been enjoying it. it's really a great series. I would definitely recommend people pick this up for Marvel Now, especially if you're a Thor fan. Okay, now for Uncanny Avengers number 2. Well, we know why the Red Skull wanted Charles Xavier's brain. Apparently the Skull somehow fused his brain with Charles Xavier. So now the Red Skull has Charles Xavier's telekinetic abilities. No, wait, telepathic abilities. Anyways, and with his newfound power, the Skull is pretty much broadcasting a message across the world trying to turn humans against mutants. And while this is going on, we're seeing some humans are already like killing some mutants, and that's what he's doing. And also he does use his powers to briefly brainwash the Scarlet Witch into joining him. But then Rogue finds Wanda, and a fight breaks out between the two of them, and eventually the Wanda is able to snap out of it when their fight leads to the room where the Skull kept Charles's body. And that snaps them both out of it, and right when they discover Charles's body, the Red Skull and his U-Men show up. Yeah, I think that's what he calls them, U-Men. Well. Oh, and also, again, there's a part at the beginning of this, Wolverine does talk to Captain America about his whole idea to use a team of Avengers of both mutants and Avengers, and Wolverine's kind of initially against it, but then we see someone actually thank Havoc for helping them take down Avalanche from the first issue, then, Logan's might kind of change his mind a little. Uncanny Avengers, it's pretty interesting. I mean, we finally do find out why the Red Skull wanted Charles' brain and what he's doing. Apparently he's trying to get humans to turn against mutants and stuff. I'd say that this is it's very intriguing. I'm kind of looking forward to the next part of this, because this was the first Marvel Now book I think announced, and I was really looking forward to it. So I want to continue to see where the first story arc goes before I decide whether or not I want to drop Uncanny Avengers or not. But still, very nice issue. Okay. Moving along. Now for DC, Teen Titans number 14, the conclusion to the Wonder Girl origin story. Basically, Cassie is able to get her armor back from Diesel. Then afterwards, when the Titans get back to their penthouse, Superboy leaves. Then Red Robin says he has to go back to Gotham, and of course we all know why. And then a few days later, they find the Titans discovers a type of message left to them that gives them the impression that Red Robin has been captured by the Joker in Gotham, and now they have to go save him. And so this leads into, this issue pretty much just kind of wrapped up Cassie's Wonder Girl's origin and leads into the tie-in to Death in the Family that's going to happen next month in Teen Titans number 15. I gotta say, you can skip if you weren't reading the Wonder Girl. If you were reading the Wonder Girl story arc, then that's probably the only reason you should get this. Because after this, though, the only reason I'd say to get the next issue is just if you're reading Death of the Family that's going on in Batman right now. Because I'd say just skip this, because right now Teen Titans is, God, this book has really been going downhill since the New 52. I'm probably gonna get the next. I'm gonna get the next few issues because of Death of the Family, but seriously, they need to get. Scott LaBelle just needs to hand this book off to someone else, because he hasn't been doing a great job on it. That's really what I'm saying. Okay, now for the Flash, number 14. Turbine and Patty Spivot. Okay, so Turbine and Patty Spivot, they discover the intelligent gorilla Solovar at the Central City Zoo. And meanwhile, the Flash is fighting Gorilla Grodd, who's now empowered by the Speed Force. And while Flash is fighting Grodd, parts of his costume get turned off and his mask gets removed. And right when Turbine, Patty, and Solovar show up, Patty notices that Barry is the Flash, and also when Grodd's about to stab Barry, Solovar gets in the way and takes the hit. So, yeah. So, okay, we're introduced to Solovar. and Patty knows that Barry's the Flash. It's really the only two high points of this. I'm kind of more interested into what's going to happen afterwards when Patty realizes that Barry's alive and also that he's the Flash. So that's really the only thing that I'm intrigued by this. And also, I mean, what's going to happen to Grodd now? I mean, how's Flash going to get the Speed Force out of him? I guess, you know, it does leave you with a few questions, and I think I'm going to get the next issue just so I can see if they're answered. I mean, I would say for this story arc, the only people I could recommend it is if you're a Flash fan, and Gorilla Grodd is one of your favorite villains. I mean, I like Grodd, so I'm still going to give this story arc a try. Okay, Superman, number 14, continuing the Hell on Earth crossover. Supergirl nearly blows Clark's secret identity when she arrives at his apartment while he's talking to Lois Lane. Clark's able to get Lois out of there, cover for why Supergirl's there, and then after Lois leaves, Clark changes into his Superman uniform and goes and meets Kara, who introduces him to Hell, the main antagonist in the story arc. And Hell pretty much tells him about who he is and how he knew Jor-El and stuff, but Superman doesn't buy it, okay? Unlike Kara, who's willing to accept any news that Krypton is alive and well, Superman is just, you know, he's approaching it logically like, okay, this sounds like a load of bull. Since he doesn't believe him, Hell says he's going to shows him Superboy and says that he will kill. Shows him Superboy, tells him that, you know, he'll kill the clone because he's an abomination on the House of El, and Superman stops him. Fight breaks out. And this is something very interesting about Hell, because he's not your average Kryptonian. I think that's, again, demonstrated in this book, because in Superboy number 14, he apparently had tactile telekinesis, and now apparently he has some sort of shape-shifting or illusion casting, because he takes the form of Superman and convinces Kara that, you know, that he really doesn't like her and that she's stupid for ever believing that Krypton could come back. And then Superman confronts Hell about this, and Hell says that the only reason he's doing this is so that he could get Kara on his side, and also so that's pretty much what happens. Superman does briefly meet Superboy, and now I think it's obvious that Kara is going to side with Hell on this whole Hell on Earth crossover. So, okay. Alright, this is written by Scott LaBelle, and I have to admit, I like this a little more than I like Teen Titans this week. Hell on Earth, it seems to be, well, interesting at best. I really don't know who Hell is, exactly how Hell has these other abilities. I mean, he's not your average Kryptonian, if possible, and I agree with Superman that it does seem like his story does have some holes in it, and it is a little bull, so, you know, I really don't like Supergirl, how she's always like, you know, she hears the news that suddenly she hears like, oh hey, there's a way to bring back Krypton. I instantly believe you. That's pretty much my impression of Supergirl. That's what I'm getting. I mean, but for Hell on Earth, the only real reason I'm reading this story arc is because I want to see the first meeting between Superman and Superboy and see what happens there. The only reason I can recommend Superman is just read it if you like Hell on Earth. If you're getting Hell on Earth, that's pretty much it. All right, final DC comic for the week. Aquaman number 14, the prologue to Throne of Atlantis. Aquaman meets, pretty much this is just like your little prelude prologues thing where Aquaman meets with his brother Orm about the events of the others and how he thinks Orm hired Black Manta to steal the scepter, and Orm tells him like, Arthur, I didn't steal the scepter, I'm not trying to declare war on the surface world, that sort of stuff. And meanwhile, Black Manta, he's held at Belle Reve prison, and he's being interrogated by Amanda Waller. And the final page of this issue ends with someone using the King's scepter to free the Trench, who you may remember from the first Aquaman story arc. So the Trench are free, and this all ties into Throne of Atlantis, which is going to take place next month, and it's going to be a crossover with the Justice League. Alright, and okay, two things I want to point out with this issue. One is that before Ocean Master goes to meet with Aquaman, he's talking about a kid in Atlantis who apparently has purple eyes, and his name is Garth. So obviously, this is a sign that maybe there hasn't been an Aqualad in the New 52 so far. Another thing I want to point out is that this is your only clear shot of the Ocean Master, the cover, because throughout the rest of the issue, he's pretty much shadowed out. Like, shadows are covering him. You can't see him in the issue, but pretty much your only clear shot of the Ocean Master is on the cover. And apparently, Ocean Master is the king of Atlantis, while Aquaman is off being a superhero. Again, I'd like to see something. Again, this was not a bad prelude. I mean, it's sort of Jeff Johns trying to establish the relationship that Aquaman has with his brother Orm. And you can see that they're two completely different people, because Orm completely distrusts the surface world. Aquaman, he does. He does trust the surface world. He thinks it's wrong for Atlantis to even try to invade it. So yeah, Aquaman number 14. If you're getting through, I'd say this is a good jumping on point for everyone who hasn't read Aquaman. Get this. It's also it's a good jumping on point if you're going to check out Throne of Atlantis next month, and which will continue. I believe the reading list for Throne of Atlantis is Aquaman number 14 to 17, then Justice League 15 and 16, because it's a 5-part story. 3 are in Aquaman and 2 are in the Justice League. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to Thrones of Atlantis. Can't wait for it next month. Alright, that's everything this week for my comic review. Quick rundown. Aquaman number 14, prelude to Throne of Atlantis. Can't wait. Ocean Master looks great. Superman number 14, Hell on Earth. Only reason I can even think about getting this anymore is just to see the interaction between the real first meeting of Superman and Superboy. Flash number 14. I'm kind of just reading this so I can get to the fallout of what happens when Patty confronts Barry about being the Flash. Teen Titans number 14. I get the feeling that after the death of the family tie-in, I'm going to be done with this book. Uncanny Avengers number 2. Progressing a little nicely. Apparently, no idea what. Kind of weirded out by the Red Skull using Charles Xavier's brain, and I look forward to the actual forming of the Uncanny Avengers. Thor: God of Thunder number 2. Nice insight to what Thor was like before becoming a superhero and Avenger in his younger days, and before he got the hammer. I would highly recommend this to Thor fans. Awesome story arc. And Minimum Carnage Omega. If you've been reading this story arc, I'd say get it. Very nice. Very nice. Cannot wait for another Carnage story arc soon. Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Spider-Man 1991 saying see you later.